Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I have an endless TBR. So my school semester is over. I have 2 weeks of vacation, so I'm so excited to film a couple videos for you to get myself back into reading on a more regular basis, and I have a couple of projects lined up. But first, a book haul. Some of you might know that towards the end of April, we celebrated Independent Bookstore Day here in the United States, and I took the opportunity to hit up a brand new independent bookstore to myself. We went over to a store called Transom Bookstore in Tarrytown, which is close by to where I live, and they opened up in October, maybe late September of 2021. Tarrytown is also known as, and right next door to, Sleepy Hollow, New York, made famous by Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So they go all out on Halloween, and this store wanted to be open for that sort of touristy season. However, I hadn't been able to get myself to pay the toll to be in the area when this shop was open, and finally took the opportunity to go on Independent Bookstore Day. I wore my t-shirt that reads "No Shelf Control," and apparently that was a big target for the owner who was at the store on the day, and I came home with quite a haul. I'm going to start with a couple books that I ordered from a different independent bookstore for a book club and to sort of make my shipping a little more reasonable. The first one of those books that I ordered is for my Wine and Angst book club, called Queen of the Tiles by Hannah Alkoff. This is a Scrabble-based mystery. It is YA per the branding of the book club. And other than that, I don't know a whole lot about it. But I look forward to reading and discussing with other folks. And this one, like I said, in order to maybe double up on shipping and making that a little bit more easier to swallow for me, and rather than ordering it from a different book vendor, I got independently published Hailey Piper, Queen of Teeth. This just won maybe an Edgar Award. I saw her Instagram story shared on probably Books in the Freezer podcast Instagram. So all that to say, this is being very well reviewed. And since it's indie published, I was having trouble finding it at my library and decided to pick it up from an independent bookstore rather than some other book vendor. This is a horror novel about dentata where maybe teeth shouldn't be necessarily. I don't know a whole lot more about it, and we'll see how it goes for me. It might be a little far out of my comfort zone. Remains to be seen. And on to the items that I picked out in person at Transom Bookshop on Independent Bookstore Day. First off, I got a tote to bring my items home. It says "Read More Books," and it has the name of the shop down on the bottom. I actually bought too many books, and they still had to give me another bag in order to bring home all of my goodies. But worth it, right? Right? It's always worth it to have books and to be able to come in and select what you'd like to read based on your reading preference at that exact moment. So when I go into a bookshop, especially in indie, I certainly like to find items that I don't see every day at the library. I really try to find a title that interests me, that I am unfamiliar with, that I haven't heard about in some other, bookish area of my life. I work at a library. I see books every day. I'm part of the ordering process, so I see the books that are coming out in a lot of instances. And those are from professional reviews. So not every book is professionally reviewed, which means I don't see all of them. I'm also a huge watcher of BookTube, as you may be able to imagine. And so I hear a lot of other books, especially the indie published stuff. I tend to hear those titles a little more regularly on BookTube. So when I go to an independent and I find something that I've never heard of before, it can be sort of mind-boggling to find an item that I've never heard of before, even though all of these different pockets of my life are focused on similar materials, are focused on other books. So I found a couple of things at the bookstore that I was unfamiliar with and a couple of those surprises. And the first one of those is The Book of the Unnamed Midwife by Meg Ellison. I think that I've seen Meg Ellison's name on a different series, but this was a book that I was unfamiliar with. It has won a Philip K. Dick Award for Distinguished Science Fiction when it was published in 2014. And the tagline on the back reads, "Surviving the apocalypse is only the beginning." So I see a snowy road. We probably have, electrical issues in this post-apocalyptic thing. So how are they surviving in this sort of unforgiving and probably isolated location? I look forward to finding out. Based on the number of books that I purchased, this one contains a bookmark gifted to me by the shop owner that says "You are here." So when you place it in your book, you are here. The next selection that I chose, and where the bookmark lives currently, is called Jawbone by Monica Ojeda and translated from the Spanish by Sarah Booker. As this is a Spanish author's name, I apologize for any mispronunciation. I believe she's also from Spain Spanish, which I'm less familiar with any sort of accent or dialect change in pronouncing names. So, disclaimer there. This reads, "Fernanda and Annalise are so close they are practically sisters. A double image, inseparable. So how does Fernanda end up bound on the floor of a deserted cabin, held hostage by one of her teachers and estranged from Annalise?" This intrigued me from its synopsis, which I just read the first sentence or so. I liked that it was translated. I really liked the cover design in its really sort of horror-esque like jigsaw puzzle of mashing things together. The other thing that drew me in from the synopsis is that it is interweaving pop culture references and horror concepts drawn from Herman Melville, H.P. Lovecraft, and anonymous creepypastas. So all of those elements seemed like a really sort of interesting mix. And while it doesn't have the best reviews on Goodreads that I realized when I left the shop, I'm willing to give it a shot. And, what's the worst thing that could happen? Next is The Memory Theater by Karen Tidbeck. This is a Swedish author who both translates and writes in Swedish and English. And I was intrigued enough by the synopsis. And again, it was a book that I had never heard of. The top portion of the blurb really grabbed me in that it's listed as a fantastical tour de force about friendship, interdimensional theater, and a magical place where no one ages except the young. In a world just parallel to ours exists a mystical realm known only as the Gardens. It's a place where feasts never end, games of croquet have devastating consequences, and teenagers are punished for growing up. For a select group of masters, it's a decadent paradise where time stands still. But for those who serve them, it's a slow torture where their lives can be ended in a blink. So there's certainly some darkness here. There's sort of fairy tale elements of, people that aren't aging, and why is this happening in this sort of fantastical realm? And it's not all that long. So figured I'd give it a try. And again, sort of coming from a different global area than I'm used to reading from, which is intriguing to me. My next goodie that I found in the next book is a sticker for Transom Bookshop. It's just a stack of books, but I thought it was cute and picked it up to bring home with me. For now, it lives in Gwen E. Kirby's Shit Cassandra Saw, which is a collection of short stories. The first of which is, the title story features Cassandra, who may have seen the future, but it doesn't mean she's resigned to telling the Trojans everything she knows. In this ebullient collection, virgins escape from being sacrificed, witches refuse to be burned, whores aren't ashamed, and every woman gets a chance to be a radioactive cockroach warrior who snaps back at catcallers. So very, very feminist. I love this cover design. It drew me in immediately. And while I did know about this collection, I hadn't seen it in the flesh, as it were. So figured I'd snap this up as I got the chance. Another gift based on the volume of titles that I selected was a postcard that reads Sleepy Hollow, Read Your Head Off. And that lives in a book that I could only have bought in Sleepy Hollow or Tarrytown at Transom Bookshop, and that is Horsemen by Christina Henry, A Tale of Sleepy Hollow. This is a retelling of Washington Irving's Legend of Sleepy Hollow with maybe even more of a gothic or horror bent to it. Christina Henry has been getting a lot of praise for her more recent release, Near the Bone, which I think is an entirely original story. But we'll see how she does with this retelling. And again, I sort of wanted to pick this up and had this in mind as I walked into this store to see if they had it in stock. I got a pencil that read more books. I haven't sharpened it yet. I'm not a huge pencil user, but it'll always come in handy to have one around. I did want to pick up a nonfiction book since that's sort of my focus while I'm at work and looking at books to order. So I picked up You Are Not So Smart by David McCraney. This is sort of a pop culture psychology, looking at how we gain information, how we process information, and then how we spit it back out again, and why your memory is mostly fiction, why you have too many friends on Facebook, and 46 other ways you're deluding yourself. This is apparently based on a podcast of which I had never heard of, so I'd be interested to give it a listen, as well as reading the book, focusing on similar topics, and I'll let you know how it goes. Finally, I picked up a picture book. I selected Tomorrow I'll Be Brave by Jessica Hische. This is a book that I picked up based on one of the classes that I took this term, which was Materials for Children. We focused a lot on picture books, which unfortunately wasn't quite what I had anticipated, but our final project was looking at picture book illustrators, and my partner and I selected this illustrator and author to focus on, and based on her digital illustrations, which are for sale in her shop, so you can get a picture to hang on your wall of this image that reads Tomorrow I'll Be Strong, and you see cute little animals, and this is sort of a beautifully reaffirming book of like, you may not have been able to do it today, but tomorrow you'll have the strength to do anything. I really love the message. The illustrative style is really compelling and just a joy to look at. So I brought it home and I'll be able to review it whenever I may need that pick-me-up. So those are all the books that I picked out on Independent Bookstore Day, and a couple other extras. I haven't actually hauled anything else for my permanent collection, though obviously I have been checking things out at the library. We've been trying out a couple new cookbooks, so those are fun. And maybe I'll let you know what we're eating in the next couple of weeks from these new cookbooks. In the meantime, if you've made it this far in the video, I will probably always ask for a book stack because I'm always talking about a bunch of books at a time. So a book stack emoji to let me know you made it to the end of the video. Any other emoji that you feel like to, give this some engagement, I'd really appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't and you like what you see. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.